Hi everyone, welcome back to my craft room. We've been working on St. Patrick's Day and we've done 3 projects, and today you will see project number 4. Be sure to subscribe because another project is coming tomorrow and you'll have all kinds of ideas for St. Patrick's Day. And so I hope you enjoy today's project. To get started, let's go right into Cricut Design Space, and I have already uploaded from the images part of it several images to show you how we're going to go ahead and create these keychains. And so I've uploaded images with an outline, and I've put both of these here so I can show you what kind of image to look for, because this first one is not the kind we want to look for because it cuts in several different layers and it's harder to create an outline. I just put that there to show you the difference in the type of file you're looking for. So we're getting rid of that one. So we're going to use this. And this is going to be the white outline that I'm going to use to iron on to my patterned faux leather. So what I'm going to do next with this, then, I'm going to create the cut that we need for the faux leather. So let me pull this down where we'll be able to see it. And I'm going to go to offset. And what this does then, it creates this blue line around my image, and I want it to be just a little smaller, a little tighter, so I can adjust it with this black button up here and then push apply. And then what it does, it creates a shape of this, and that's what I will use for my vinyl. But I don't want a big hole in it, so I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to come over to contour is an option here, and we're going to hide all contours. So when I come back to it, you'll see it's a solid image, so it's just going to cut one solid thing. So I'm going to change that to green. Now that the offset has been created, you can see that when I pull my outline over it, that's basically how it's going to look. I'm going to have my outline white, so I'll just show that. So this is basically how that keychain is going to look. But right now, it's just a flat image. So let's make it into a keychain. What I'm going to do is duplicate this. And remember, now that I've done the offset, I'm not going to resize anything. And I'm going to pull that up here, and let's flip it vertically. And then we're also, so that's going to be the front side, the back side of the keychain, but I need the little connecting part. So I'm going to pull in a shape, and I'm just going to resize this so it's right about a 1/2 inch wide, and I'm just going to pull it over here, and then I need all that lined up. So I'm going to choose all 3 pieces, go to align, and I'm going to center horizontally so it makes sure that everything here is lined up and neat and tidy. Then I can come over to weld and weld all 3 pieces together. So now you can see it's going to cut that just as one big piece. And then I can pull this over and I can see basically how that's going to look when we're done. All right, I'm going to group that so that when I move it around here in Design Space, I can just move it all as one group. All right, so let's work on the shamrock next. So we're going to do the same process. I'm going to size it. In fact, I'm going to unlock it so I can size it in both directions. Same thing, I want it right around 2 inches or so. Now that I have it sized, I can go in and create my offset. So same thing, there's that blue line around it. So I'm going to apply that. And then let's pull off my outline. I don't want these holes, so I'm going to highlight that, come to contour, hide all contours. That makes it one solid piece. I'm now going to shift that to my green color and duplicate. So I'm just doing that very same process that I did on the first one. I'm coming to flip, I'm going to flip it vertically, bring in and let's see how wide I want those apart, about like that, enough for a, for a key ring to go in there. Grab my shape, which is just a square, resize that down to about a 1/2 inch, drag it over, choose all, align horizontally, and then weld. And then I get that solid piece. I'm going to change this color to white. And then let's send this to the back and pull this over, and you'll have an idea of what that will look like. There you go. Now we're going to work on the pot of gold, and I'm going to work with that a little bit differently. So I'm going to bring it over so we can see it and bring up the contour box. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of this sort of shiny thing on the top because I don't want that. And then what I actually want to do is get rid of the whole big background shape because what I really want is just the outline. Okay, now when I'm out of contour, I can see exactly what I've got here. The only other thing I would like to do is the pile of coins for me feels very busy. And so I'm going to do one more alteration to this. And it might be something that you would not want to do, but I'm just going to show you how we could do that. Is I can unlock this oval. And then I'm going to drag it over to here I just want to get rid of some of the little lines and things that are going with those coins. So I'm going to pull it over here and I'm going to create basically a slice of this so that I can end up with the idea of coins without so much busy there. So I'm going to highlight that now. And now when it slices, let me pull off my shape because this is what we end up with. And so for me, it just feels a little less busy. And then I can go ahead and delete my sort of garbage pile. You may not want to do that, but that's just an idea. If there's something inside of your shape that you really don't like, you can always work with that. All right, so now we're going to do our basic steps that we did with the others. So I'm going to come to offset. Now, I'm doing this particular one to show you because there are all kinds of ways to manipulate your shape. And this one, I'm going to go ahead and resize that offset just slightly smaller, just a little tighter. And then I'm going to apply that, but something strange is going to happen. Okay, let's pull off my outline there. So I don't want this hole cut in my vinyl. And generally what we did before is contour, but there, if we go to contour this, it's not going to fill in that hole because I have a gap down here. So I'm going to come in with shapes again. I'm going to use this one because that sort of mimics my shape here, and I'm just going to pull that right over to create a bottom to my shape. Do you see that? And then I'm going to choose, I'm going to select them all and weld. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make that green. When I bring this over, let's make that white. You can see, let's send that to the back. And then when I pull this over, you can see that I have that pot shape because I added that bottom bit in there. Now, if you wanted to do this and not do any contouring at all and just have the whole thing cut white, of course you can do that. And I just wanted to show you that there are different ways to manipulate these shapes to create whatever you want. And the best way to learn, of course, is to fiddle with them. All right, now, next step. We're going to duplicate. On that one, we are going to flip vertically. We're going to pull it up here, give ourselves the space we need for our little connecting thingy. And I'm going to show you, I don't even have to have those lined up right now. Pull in my shape, resize that. Pull that over. I'm going to even leave that skiwampus so you can see what happens, because I can easily align all of this by doing center horizontally, and it just pulls everything into a nice tidy line. And then we're going to weld it. And there we go. So we are ready to cut. And that gives us an idea of all three that we're cutting. Alrighty, so now what I'm going to do, I made these all the same color so that it tells my cutter that I'm cutting all three in the same cut. And so I'm going on to my mat. And so here we go. This is what's going to cut on my white HTV. And I'm going to mirror that. I try to be in the habit of whenever I use iron-on to always mirror it. And then we're going to go to this one. Now, because I have three different pattern vinyls, I'm going to pull these apart. And I'm going to place this one right at about the 4-inch line so that when I line these up on my mat, I know exactly where they need to be so that it will run through the cutter one time, but it will cut three different vinyls. So let's go back to the desktop and I'll show you how we're doing that. I have three different patterns of faux leather that I'm going to use, and I'm going to go ahead and put them on my mat face down because they stick a little bit better. And it was interesting in cutting these. One of these I actually couldn't use at all with my paper cutter. So we will see how that works. It wouldn't cut. It wouldn't cut at all with my paper cutter. So we're going to see how that works with the Cricut. And then this one is a really nice. I'm starting to see there are definitely different qualities of faux leather. So I'm putting these in three different places, and I'm looking at my Cricut design space so I can see where to place them based on where I want each design to cut. Okay, and so once I have those down really well, then we're going to go ahead and get these cut. So while that is cutting, we're going to go ahead and get our iron-on vinyl weeded. And we'll just go. I'm watching this one cut, and that one that was really difficult, that wouldn't work very well in my paper cutter, I see it actually did not do well on the Cricut either. So what I'm going to have to do is go ahead and go around and cut that out by hand. And it's interesting, boy, the different qualities. Well, I guess it's partly coming out, but it was starting to pull up on my mat. So I'm wondering if maybe that I should have, if you've got a lower quality vinyl, to definitely tape it down. So I'm looking at those. Let's see how that, see that one, and I know this is a really good quality vinyl. It just works so well. And this one was maybe less so, but it also cut pretty well. Look at that. Yeah. So this one, I'm definitely going to have to cut out by hand. And before we do all of that, I'm just going to go ahead and cut these off because I want to save as much as I can of these vinyls. And so I think I'm going to leave it for now. And then once we've done the gluing and I have that really together, then I can make that match. I'm not going to worry about saving any of those scraps. But look how nicely these cut. I mean, they just line up perfectly. And so I'm going to look back and see if I can figure out where this vinyl came from, and then I'll know to maybe avoid getting it from that spot. This is my favorite. I bought that on Amazon. Love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this weeded now. And that's just, I really like the heat transfer vinyl. It's pretty fun to weed. It just comes out a lot, just easy, and it's just a really nice product to weed. There. It's gonna look super cute. You know, so growing up, the thing with St. Patrick's Day was that you had to wear green. And if you didn't wear green, people could pinch you. And I know they've kind of banned that in schools nowadays. It wasn't that big of a deal, but they've banned that now. But this way, this will help your child have green on so that they don't get pinched if that still happens in your area. So there they are. I've got my heat press warming up. I'm going to go ahead and check my heat guide and make sure we get this done correctly. So my heat guide says that if you're pressing with smart iron-on onto faux leather, you're going 280 degrees for 30 seconds. And my Cricut Easy Press just beeped. I'm just going to put down, and I'm actually going to do these all three at once because they're not very big. Get these here. I'm going to just put down some parchment. And here we go, 30 seconds. Okay, so it says that we peel these when they're cool. So I'm going to go ahead and set these on my cool desk here so that they'll cool down much faster. And then we'll peel those. I'm going to leave this here in case I need to do a second pressing just to make sure. So while those are cooling, I'm going to show you what our next steps are going to be. I have these really cute little keychain clasps. They're called swivel hooks, and they open with a little lever that pushes in like that. And we've got this D-ring here. So those are going to hook into our project. I've also got my glue gun heating up with a precision tip so we can get right in there and make sure that we get all the parts of our faux leather sealed. So let's see. Yeah, those are feeling pretty cool now. So let's peel these up. Oh, I see that part of that did not press down, so we're going to repress that one. And that's the one on that lesser quality, and that came up just fine. That's the these two are the better quality faux leathers. So yeah, those came up just fine. I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead, just do my press again one more time just to make sure that got pressed. And it's interesting that the quality of your faux leather really does make a difference into how that iron-on is laying down on there too. That kind of surprises me. And this is really my first experience with faux leather that maybe isn't such a good quality. It's just really thin, but it really does make a difference. Okay, so let that cool again. These are looking great. And I think actually that secondary pressing actually was really good for those. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take that leather while it's still warm too, is kind of a nice thing because it rolls really easily, and we're going to just slide it through that D-ring. And I'm just going to put my hot glue. I'm not going to do it here on the connection part where the ring goes. I'm just going to put my hot glue and just get some glue in there. And if I get a little too much, I'm okay with that. So I'm going to push on that and hopefully maybe even get it to come out a little bit on those edges. Now, what I'm making these for, it's kind of a trendy thing nowadays to have your backpack all decorated with all kinds of fun little danglies and key rings and everything Oh, I love that. I think it's so cute. So that's what the purpose of this is to give the kids a little something to hang on their backpack for the holiday, and also to keep them from getting pinched. If they've got something green on their backpack, according to tradition, then they're not supposed to get pinched. And then once that's all cooled, I'll come back with my scissors and just trim off some of that glue that hangs over. So now let's do our leprechaun hat. So we're doing the same thing. I'm going to roll it up and just stick it through. And then let's glue it down. Just keeping that loose. Okay, and that does cool actually pretty quickly. I'm just pulling off the excess, and this is one reason why I keep this paper calendar right here to protect my table. And then when I'm done with this project, I can just gather up that particular page and just throw that away. Okay, checking the edges now, and I might have to do a little bit of clean up on the edges here. Okay. All right. All right, let's come back to this one. I'm just looking to see if there are any edges of glue that I need to trim, and there are a few. It's interesting how when you have better quality materials, you're just able to make better projects. Get all the glue off of there. Okay, and there's our leprechaun's hat keychain. Just really like that. Okay, now let's take a look at this last one that's nice and cool now. And I think that laid down pretty well. All right, so let's put the keychain on this one. So these hooks I really like. We're going to roll that in just like the other ones, slip it on, position it. There we go. I think that's really cute. Even though the leather is poor quality, I like how that turned out. I think that's really fun. Just gonna go around that. Okay. Once it's cooled, and I'm going to go ahead and squeeze any glue out that side and just really get that tapped down. Okay. Okay, let's just neatly trim up those sides. And I do like that about faux leather, that, you know, you can cut it and it's just really fun to use. I really have become quite a fan of faux leather. Okay, so there's the finished one of those, and I think that's fun. Okay, I'm going to get my things cleaned up here, and then we'll take our last look. Okay, let's take a look at our finished keychains. There we go. I think they're super cute. I think the kids will really like those. And they just make, you know, a pretty minor holiday, a real simple little holiday, just a lot more fun. So go ahead and give those a try. And don't forget, you can get my St. Patrick's Day book with all kinds of ideas and fun and facts and sayings and food ideas and just all kinds of things. You can get that on my Facebook group, Coming Home. Just answer a few questions, join the group, and you can have several different downloads in the files section of that group free. So I hope you liked that video. I hope you liked seeing the little keychains being made. And I have a couple of other videos that I've already made with these projects for St. Patrick's Day, and so be sure to subscribe because I have more projects coming. Easy, fun, just to make the holiday or spring or any other holiday a little bit more fun. So go ahead and subscribe and see those, and we'll see you next time.